Get started. I know we're trying to get some more chairs on the back so that people don't have stand on the back. But I thought while we are waiting for the chair to be set up, but let's get our panelists, our panel members for this panel up and running. So first of all, my name is Jeffrey. I'm with the Senior Education Technology Specialist with Asian Development Bank. I will be the moderator for this session. So this session, if you can see, call it Reimagine Tech Inclusive Education. And what do we mean by tech inclusive education? And what do we talk about when we say learning quality, learning assessment, and really learning for all? So I think we're going to try to cover in this session. First, let's try to invite all my panel members to the stage. Can we? Okay. Can we flash the slide on the back? The panel slide? Panelist slide. Let's sit in the order. Yeah, I will sit in order. It's showing on the slide. So I'll be sitting on the right side. Got the Liutz, got the Paulina, we got the Amit, and then we got the Masa there. Good. So we're in good shape. Okay. Good. So first of all, I think I'm gonna quickly introduce my panelists, right? We got a really great lineup here this afternoon. First, I would like to introduce Liutz Lugu Helen. She's the education manager with UNICEF, the Learning Innovation Hub. We actually have a very big workshop in Finland with the UNICEF team on really how to select the best of the best technology solutions, right? From all over the market, because we have overwhelmingly different type of learning applications, learning system, learning platforms. So we're trying to figure out, who we should really structure and select for our developing member countries when all the countries are in the mix of trying to do the digital transformation. So, and Liutz is leading that effort. She's got 15 years of professional experience in education, 10 years itself with UNICEF, the regional office and country offices as the chief education, and also with the UNESCO Institute of Statistics. So I know with the UNESCO Institute of Statistics, it's playing a lot with the numbers, right? The learning poverty, and all the learning achievements. So it's a lot of that. So a lot of country level work on digital learning, especially for primary and secondary students, and attainment for young children and their families. And then the next we have Paulina right here. Paulina is very close of ADB, because we have a project in Indonesia supporting what we call the ICE, right? In Indonesia Cyber Education Institute. Professor Paulina really has been working in technology and digital transformation and quality development in higher education, especially in Indonesia. So she writes a lot of articles and obviously speaks in quite a many forums as well. So we have the honor to invite her to be here. She's now involved in ICE, like I said, in Universitas Terbuka, right, to offer flex learning opportunities using unbounded online courses. That includes actually 33 higher education institutions benefiting from that. And then the next we have, obviously, is Amit, right? Amit is our CEO of our Australian Council for Education Research in India, ACER. So obviously, for those of you who know ACER, they have a very well-known research institution. And then they are really putting research at the core of the business, and as a non-profit, not-for-profit organization. So uncommissioned educational research, especially large-scale learning assessment. So we all know during the part of the transformation, we look at quality, and the really large-scale learning assessment is actually a key barrier in a lot of countries. I think we have the opportunity to have Amit to share the great experiences in South Asia, India, in the region. So last, obviously also, we have two more, and then obviously we have Masa. And Masa is the president of an organization called IGS, Institution for Global Society. right? Dr. Masa Fuksang is a professor at the same time in Hatu, Sapachi, and Keele universities. I think one of the flagship products that IGS pioneered is a product called AI Grow, a AI-powered bias-free tech assessment student competency, for student competency. So it's already implemented in 500 plus schools across Japan, India, Cambodia, and Vietnam. It really recognized the way to assess STEM and soft skills. So that's Masa. And then there you go. The last but not least is really Kolika. That's what she preferred to call, but the full name is Chan Kolika, Director of Policy Department with the Ministry of Education of Youth and Sports in Cambodia. And Dr. Kolika is obviously leads and manages educational research projects and really turns research to inform education policies and strategies. And especially following the TES summit, Dr. Kolika has led several policy dialogues among different actors, have provided advice on transforming Cambodia education, and currently she's leading the development process for Cambodia digital education strategy for schools. So, and that's the lineup. I think I will start with the first question with Niels, with UNICEF, right, in the order. So we talk about the development of the implementation of EdTech Curation Framework, right, to really ensure the technology integration in education has to remain inclusive and equitable, at the same time really providing quality learning for all. Can you share a little bit about your work, right, in UNICEF with the Learning Innovation Hub, and then obviously we have the collaboration with ADB on quite a bit of the the Learning Cabinet project. But very quickly in 4 minutes, because we're trying to make sure that we have actually following 4 other sessions after us as well. We don't want to get other sessions into a big delay. So yeah, so 4 minutes.
Thanks, Jeff, and good afternoon, everyone. It's really great to see a packed room. Thanks to ADB for the invitation. As Jeff mentioned, we at the UNICEF Learning Innovation Hub, we are developing an EdTech for Good Curation Framework. And this is done also through our collaboration with ADB and many other partners, and builds on the work of the KESA model that ADB did. We started developing this framework because, like many of us who work in education, we were also really wondering, with all the EdTech, thousands of EdTech products or tools available in the market, how do you actually know which one is the best? How do we know what is a top-notch EdTech tool? So for example, if you're a Ministry of Education or if you're a teacher, you want to look for an EdTech product or an app or a browser-based solution that improves reading or math skills. Where do you start? How do you actually know that it improves reading skills and math skills? And is it safe to use? Is it safe to be put on the hands of children? So for the UNICEF Learning Hub, this is one of our goals, to really leverage the developments in technology to make sure that EdTech tools that we put in the hands of children are of good quality, are safe, and of course that it improves learning outcomes of children. This is also because we are currently facing a learning crisis. Maybe as many of you know, 70% of 10-year-olds in low and middle income countries cannot read a basic statement. But we believe that harnessing the power of technology is one of the solutions, but at the same time, we really need a rigorous and comprehensive set of standards to evaluate EdTech tools. So with the UNICEF Learning Hub, we brought together a transdisciplinary group of experts from education, from business, technology, design, and policy to develop a framework that is comprehensive but also practical. The framework has 5 key pillars, and under each pillar are rigorous standards, which we will use to then review EdTech tools. Pillar 1 is safety first. We really want to ensure that EdTech tools have safeguards in place for data privacy, for security, and a guarantee that it does not cause any harm from a child protection perspective. This also includes standards for tools that use AI to make sure that they have the right guardrails in place. Pillar 2 is impact on learning. We need to ensure that tools have evidence on effective and positive impact on learning outcomes before deploying them at scale. And pillar 3, it's designed for children at the heart of the development, and really caters to their cognitive and developmental needs. Pillar 4 is ready to reach all, so that EdTech solutions, EdTech tools can be adopted, implemented, and scaled to reach a wide range of learners in different contexts. And the last pillar, and equally important, is leave no one behind. And this is where we really need to ensure the inclusiveness and equity aspects. The last point is that this framework is being designed to assess EdTech tools that focus on teaching and learning from early childhood education to K-12, but also skills development for children and young people. We will soon be testing this framework in a couple of EdTech tools before we release a beta version of the framework and promote it widely with our partners like ADB and hopefully many more. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Liups. As we know, once we have identified those various tools that we prove effective, I think in a national scale, in a given country, actually it's very tough to see how to really effectively measure the improvements. I think that's where we're gonna get to maybe a myth to introduce a little about really how do we use educational research, right, to rethink large-scale school assessment, to make sure any digital transformation, any project, the tech project we have put in place, we have to make sure that we do see the improvements in assessment, right, in learning assessment, and especially with the large-scale education reforms. Can I get Amit to share this?
Thanks, Jeffrey. I noticed I was expecting you actually to go to Paulina. You skipped.
Yeah. Try to be gender balanced. So.
Oh, right. I like that. Well, thanks for the question. I think, look, educational research is an integral part of all large-scale assessments. In a sense, large-scale assessments by themselves are also a part of that process of educational research. And the two don't exist in isolation or without each other. They are both mutually reinforcing. Sorry, am I audible? Can you hear me? Yeah. The fact is that the outcomes of educational research are what inform the building of an assessment, or the focus of an assessment, the objectives of an assessment. And it is the data that the learning assessments give us that further inform the research that is undertaken. So for instance, we know from most recent research that we see these days that too many young people are actually leaving school without acquiring the minimal expected level of competencies that they should have, and without the skills they need for an ever-changing world. This is a world that is changing so rapidly. AI is just one example of the way in which this world changes. And increasingly, young people do not leave school with the skills that they need in order to be able to navigate a world like this. So educational research is an extremely important part of anything that we do in large-scale assessments. And in fact, they're used to refine the way in which assessments are created or built. So for instance, the best known of them all is PISA, which everybody talks about. PISA has had for several years assessments that test different abilities that are separate from the knowledge that they're expected to have acquired in school. Financial literacy, computer literacy, understanding of how you source information or look for information. And there is a lot of work underway in trying to build assessments that look at the difficult to measure things like empathy or creativity or communication skills, things like that. Now, when it comes to AI, I'm going to say what somebody in the morning said in the plenary session. AI is a tool. It's not the answer to all our problems. I work in South Asia. And one of the biggest problems in South Asia is I think that, sometimes we lose sight of the data. It's still the region in the world that accounts for the most number of children out of school at 30 million. I'll take an example from India. We have 1.5 million schools, but out of those 1.5 million schools, only 1/3 of them, that's 500,000, have access to the internet. Only 700,000, that's half of them, have actually computers in the classroom or even in the school. So when we talk about AI at the delivery level in countries like this, it's going to be very difficult and very challenging. But there are ways in which AI can certainly help build better assessments. For example, adaptive assessments. Assessments that offer a question that is more difficult or less difficult depending upon the ability of the child who's taking the assessment. Building better test questions. So those are application areas where AI can contribute. But it's not something that's going to overnight replace the way in which we do assessments. And I'll close with the final example because this thing is flashing red at me. I'll close with a final example. We recently helped the Bangladesh government to deliver a national assessment for grades 3 and 5. This was an assessment that covered all kids in grades 3 and 5 across the country. It was delivered entirely on paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So looks like our timer helps to control the rhythm of our panel. Yeah, so we talk about quite a bit of, I think, may talk about the intersection of the AI as well as learning assessment and competencies. I think now we're gonna move on to again Dr. Masas, because in this topic, okay, because in the morning we talked quite a bit of AI and Amit also highlighted. Obviously, the way we expect the students to have in terms of their competencies is changing. We talk about in China right now, the top pursued job is called prompt engineer. So how to ask the right question to AI is becoming the most pursued job. And this job obviously doesn't exist 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But then the way we teach our students, like traditionally memorizing, understanding, are those skills still relevant in a post-AI world? And then we talk about all the transversal skills, STEM skills, and inquiry skills. So, but this is going to become critically important. We talk about the 4 C's, right? Collaboration, communication, critical thinking, creativity. But how are we going to measure that? Yeah. Right? So those soft skills, we do piece a lot. We tend to do well in measuring the learning outcomes. A lot of them about understanding some critical thinking, but a lot of really the soft skills, transversal skills. Do we have more opportunities with additional AI empowered and technology tool to measure this? If Masa, from your prior project in different country, try to share a bit of that, those opportunities. Yeah, that will help our audience quite a bit. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeffrey. Jeffrey just pointed out, it's not just merely just in the age of AI, not merely about just memorizations and calculation, that just artificial intelligence excellent, especially in this world. Just to define and elevate our human role in this AI era must be more behavior over non-cognitive capabilities. That just traditional assessment cannot make it. So let me just at first most an important thing we think must be how to assess behaviors. So just paper-based assessment is not enough, but just also 360 degrees evaluation is not so enough, because so many bias among evaluators. For example, bias to genders, bias in terms of other for example religious and others. So and this by just using artificial intelligence, we have to correct evaluators' point, and further we have to find out trace by just using artificial intelligence for behavior assessment. So clearly it is a largest opportunity in this respect. And further, and based upon this, so we can also do more personalized feedback based upon the assessment. For example, for the assessment, shouldn't because AI tools can observe and analyze just not only student behavior, but interactions among students. As we know, just, AI can't just interact together, right? But just, people can make it. So in this case, 360, just evaluations must be critical, but also based upon this, we can just, cater to each individual interest, strength, and weakness by using artificial intelligence. Generative AI can make this much more powerful, as we know. Because, if we can just, use just generative AI for feedbacks, you must be surprised how powerful it is. We have worked with more than 300 schools in Japan, partially sponsored by Japanese government. Just, clear, just, more, just, catered individual, just, feedback is powerful, not only for students, but also for teachers. You can imagine a teacher, can they monitor each person's behaviors, for example, in a large class, 40 students. Maybe just 5 or just the top students or 5 lower students, they might just understand. But how about the other 20? Without using AI and the data, the teacher can't say anything. So it means a teacher, human beings can't make a right feedback to them. So and that's just, clearly in the usage of 360 and the further artificial intelligence, just, are so many powerful. So I'm very just happy to just work with you in this respect. Just, we are going to just work with the Asian Development Bank and further Economic Research Institute for East Asia and further just in ASEAN. We are going to just assess non-cognitive just assessment in just Cambodia and Uzbekistan in the coming years. So we'd love to just work with just in other countries because behaviors are going to be the key in this just, the age of just AI.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I saw that blinking as well. I think you controlled, just in time. So now we heard about, from the international organization perspective, the efforts, the framework. We heard about the large-scale assessment based on educational research. We heard about the opportunity to really, assess the future-driven skills. I would like to then turn because ultimately for ADB, because we support developing member countries. So ultimately, all we have talked about has to land on how exactly this can work in a developing country. So I think I would like to, we have the two, panelists coming from India and Cambodia. I think I hope we can share some of the either successful digital transformation strategies in your country, or some of the challenges and experiences as well. So I'll start with the Paulina's, but especially Paulina is more focused on higher education. I think colleagues are more on school education, so we've been more inclusive. So Paulina, you want to go first? Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everybody. And thank you to ADB for inviting me. Technology-based education in Indonesia has been started, I believe, since 1950s. However, the first milestone has been the establishment of Universitas Terbuka, the Open University, which is multimedia. It means a lot of media, not multimedia in the computer term. Okay, a lot of media. And then after that, we have what we call SPADA Indonesia, which is e-learning packages open for every lecturers in Indonesia to take down, to download the materials and use it in their classroom. So it's a kind of repository and can be used for blended learning. And then after that, we go into the ICE Institute, the establishment of ICE Institute, which is higher education online courses contributed by many universities in Indonesia as well as international foreign university. And then it can be taken by any university students and the public in a very flexible manner that is unbundled. So you can take only one course, you can take 2 courses, etc. However, the most important thing about all of these milestones is that the establishment of the ecosystem, the IT or technology-based ecosystem. Our government, I believe, learning so hard from the 1950s up to the 2000 and right now, that is preparing. First, we have 3 components that needs to be taken care. First of all is the policy from the government, because whether you like it or not, Indonesia is still top-down country. So the policy must be there, the regulation must be there, and then the empowerment of all the players in the field, whether it is the faculty member or and also the students, and also the other administrative systems like reward and sanction. If they are doing the online course, for example, developing the e-learning packages, what is the reward for them? What's the meaning of it? Right now, faculty members joining to contribute, offering in ICE Institute, for example, got a very high score in for promotion and tenure, because their courses, one course, for example, will be taken by various university students and also public. There is high number, for example, 187, and then is taken by 23 universities. That is really a big credit point for one faculty members by the accreditation committee. So that is one of the ecosystem that needs to be there. So that's it.
Great, thank you, Pauline. Really managed well on time and very concise on the, especially from the policy to the implementation. I think a lot of things we talk quick about one of the biggest, education challenges we call the trilemma: how to achieve quality education at scale and with affordable cost. So each one of them, we tackle them individually, it's easy, but we put them all together. Quality education at scale, like national level, like in Indonesia, like Japan, like Cambodia, with affordable costs, especially I think with the countries who have limited resources. I'll turn over to Cambodia again, Polika, to share. Again, so we don't have a lot of resources like Japan, some other country, Indonesia might have a bit more ample resource. But again, how do we really execute the digital transformation in a country like Cambodia?
So thank you for the question. So I would like to share the experience from Cambodia, which is one of the developing country. So I will share with the strategy first. I don't want to talk about the challenge, but the strategy. And then when we start the digital transformation, I will share about the challenge, the lesson learned, and the scale up strategy. So the strategy, Cambodia has embraced the motto, it's called start small, but have to start now. We don't want to wait for all the resources available. So just start and then do it at the same time and reflect what we are doing and come up with the policy. So we implement a lot of small projects in selected school. And usually we work out with the school who really want to go with digital transformation. We don't want to, because it is just like we start to do the piloting first. So we don't want to, we don't want to start with all the school. So with doing this, we can come up with the strategy. So during some of the small project that, some of the piloting project that we are working with the school is we develop the digital learning platform, where during this COVID and post-COVID, we have a lot of digital learning platform where our students can access to digital learning resources and also can access to online course. We also implement school information management system, SIS, which in the upper secondary school. This is available in the web and also as a mobile, in the mobile app, where this app can help the school to manage administratively, and also they have that the learning platform where students and teachers can use this for online learning. We also introduced tablet on wheel under the ADB project. We supply the tablet on wheel to the school. We also build the computer lab in the school as well. And so this is some of the initiative that we are working on. And the challenge that we are facing basically is on the internet connection, infrastructures, the limited digital skill of our students and teachers, and also finance constraint. So based on this project, we recently we need to find the long-term sustainability. So we introduce digital education in all education policy. We have like education strategy plan. So we integrate it into our education strategy plan. We integrate in ethic roadmap. We integrate in all the subsector plan. So, and recently we also in the process to finalizing the development of digital education strategy for school. Why is for school? It is a school-based strategy because we have a lot of broad policy, but we need to translate this into the school level. So we decide to develop the digital education for school. And at the same time, we try to seek the partnership with the development partner, with the telecom company, and also under the framework of public-private partnership and also the public school partnership. Actually, I have many things to talk, but as the time is up, so I will stop here and yeah.
Thank you, Kolika. So I was actually partly involved in one of the Cambodia project. It's called Step Up Project. I know our project leader is actually here in the room. Anika's there, right? Yeah. So we have a lot of good really learnings from those projects. I think one of the key learnings I think already the colleague already summarized very well. For digital transformation, it has to be a very holistic strategy. I think if I try to summarize, colleague already mentioned about infrastructure, about the government policy, about the schools and teachers, right? How to empower the teachers, which also mentioned, and really how to make sure that we do student focus, right? I think today, this morning, one of the panel members, Lin, talked about we need to start to rethink. We're not teaching something, we're teaching someone, right? So that's the really one of the key word I learned. So that's really back to the students. And so that's again, the key pillar. And then not to forget about the communities and the parents, all the support that. So that's part of the reason ADB, we have a framework, we call it Digital Education Readiness Framework, which is captured in, it's published today. It's called Towards Mature Digital Education Systems. So what we did is we look at all the 5 key pillars that I mentioned. We break it down into 19 sub-pillars, and then altogether 56 indicators. We look at, in order to do a digital transformation in a country like Cambodia, in developing countries, what are the different factors when you look at? How do we make sure the policy is supporting this holistic development of the digital transformation strategy? And then this, the Readiness Index already included, this release already included 10 countries, and 3 of the countries are already here: Cambodia, Indonesia, India. Actually, India is not yet. The Philippines is here, already included. Hopefully, we can include India in the next round. So yeah, that's the I think really the digital transformation strategy. That's an index, a starting point. How do we assess where we are? So when we make those interventions, we will keep making progress. Then we can reassess: are there improvements, right, in teachers, competencies, in student competencies, in our infrastructure? Because I know, all the countries are aggressively ramping up infrastructure. We know this is going to become the biggest digital gap if we don't get it in place. Right? We talk about the, today ChatGPT. So without connectivity, ChatGPT now is still cloud-based. I hope we can have a offline, open AI and ChatGPT in the future, but now it doesn't seem it's possible there. It has to be cloud-based. Without that, how are you going to rely on a tool like ChatGPT? How it's make it available to everybody, but the students, like in the Philippines, I've been to some of the countries, some of the regions, we need to walk 8 hours to deliver a solar panel to the school. There's no roads yet. So for those schools, they don't have access to internet, forget about using ChatGPT, personalized learning, all that's going to be hard. But again, the infrastructure, the connectivity, it's just one part of the whole pillar. So that's why I think the holistic approach to really making sure, assessing where the countries are, and then we can really making the measurable progress as we move along in the process. And then I already started to see some questions coming in. from the audience. I'm going to pull over to the. It's going to come up. So one of the questions I actually personally like quite a bit is relevant to what we're talking about. So this is the question is, what is the solution if we choose the wrong EdTech tool? You know, we don't have a permission to really make a trial with our students, right? We cannot afford a trial. But what is the strategy? I think Kulika talked about it. You know, we always have pilots, even if we adopt tool recommended by ADB, recommended by UNICEF, we still always going to have a trial, because the trial, the pilot is actually building up the capacity on the schools, teachers, students, policy, to see how to really comprehensively, you know, holistically support the whole national strategy. So ADB has, you know, we talk about the framework. We talk about a way to assess. We actually call it QUESTA, right? Lewis knows very well. The way we call it QUESTA is quality, effectiveness, scalability, and affordability. We look at 4 different dimensions to look at whether a particular tool is the right fit, right? But again, if we, you know, make a trial with our student, do we have a standard about good EdTech to implement into schools? I'll give this question to Leo's, because we're working very closely on the learning cabinets and how to select the best tool, how to avoid those you know, failures and some of the lessons learned in countries if they are adopting a wrong tool in the country.
Yeah, I think it's working now. Yeah. No, I think that's a really important question, because of course, during the pandemic, we were all scrambling to introduce technology into classrooms and different EdTech tools. But to the question, it's really important, as you said, to pilot, to really learn. I think even in the tech industry, this is what they do. They don't just introduce a product right away at scale, but you test and you make sure that you learn and you pivot from that piloting, and then you can do better. If you use an EdTech tool, the question was, if you use a wrong EdTech tool, what do you do? If you use the wrong medicine and your doctor tells you it's a wrong medicine, will you continue taking the medicine? I think we really need to think about children's learning and their safety and their future, and that's at the heart of what we're doing in education. So I think that has to be the main consideration. How do you assess a good EdTech tool? I've just really looked at and summarized the parts of the framework that we're developing together, making sure that it's safe, it's of good quality, it has evidence. And this is why then you shouldn't go wrong, because you have to look at if there's already some evidence on how it improves learning, even if at a small scale, and then you can contextualize it in your country level, but at the same time that it's designed for children, that it's for children at the heart, and taking into account the science of learning, which Professor Reimers also mentioned this morning.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Kalik want to add to this as well.
Yes, I would like to share the experience from Cambodia when we developed the school management information system. So we choose one school, it's called like a control group, a control school. And we work with that school for more than 1 year. So we test the system, we verify it with the law and regulation of the ministry. So after we are sure that the system is work well, and then we deploy to other school. And also when we want to scale up to another school, we also do some the evaluation. So if there we met with this, the school teachers, student, parent, and then we got the positive feedback from the system. That is why we decided, okay, this system can be scaled up to another school in another country, in the country. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you. You want to? Okay, so looks like this is this is a very hot topic, and I think. But again, I think we will definitely have an opportunity to share, because we have more questions coming. Okay. The other question I'm looking at, it's relevant to this, is how can we ensure that integrating tech in the curriculum and the instruction won't be additional burden for teachers and learners? while hitting at the same time hitting the intended learning competencies. This is raised by Marine Joseph Willer. I think this is a good question that's relevant as well. I think maybe Amit and Masa, you can both share, because again, we cannot forget about the importance of teachers in this whole transformation, right? I will remind everyone in this panel, after this session, we actually break up into 4 parallel sessions. One of the sessions is what we call a tech talk style teacher story sharing in their digital learning transformation. So exactly, it's going to share 7 teachers from the regions that come here to share their personal experience in adopting digital education in their classrooms from Indonesia, from Cambodia, from Vietnam, Philippines. So we're going to hear a lot of different voices. But again, that's not to, again, discounting the importance of policy support for teachers, and really how do we make sure that in this transformation, teachers is not forgotten and how do we do that with the tool support?
Okay, so let me just share Japanese government initiative, Future Classroom Project. It was started 5 years ago. So because many school teachers pointed out they don't have any time to choose the right edtech tools. So rather than just teachers, Japanese government just METI have just screened just all edtech tools. They have chosen almost 40 to 50 just edtech companies. Then they have created a consortium. So then just each school has adopted one of them. So for the first year, 2/3 of budget can be paid by the Japanese government. So it's a kind of trial. So if it's 1 year, just is okay. So just each school or regional governments just keep just paying this just edtech fees. But one just problem just occurred. Some school always every year just change. They just change edtech just tools just for just budget for lower. Then just Japanese government said maybe twice. Just they can just why not trying just to just edtech tools. And further related to the second just questions. So because just also Japanese government are really just careful about how we can reduce just teachers' burdens, because one of the reasons why, because now just many just Japanese graduates don't want to become a teacher. So the application just rate has been decreased a lot. Too many burdens, and also too many just tasks, and also they can't just care for all just people's behaviors and others. And this also the edtech just tools should be not only for students but also, as Jeffrey pointed out, for teachers.
Yeah, thank you, Masa. Maybe you want to complement a bit? Just
quickly, I mean, I think one has to remember that the education system at the end of the day is about the student, and it is a very complicated system. And if you touch one part of it, you're going to have an impact on it somewhere else. It's a bit like taking a medication for blood pressure, and then you find your blood pressure drops too much, and then you have to do something else about it in order to take care of that. So it's very closely interlinked, and we've seen that during the pandemic, when classes were compelled to move online per force, teachers were very quickly asked to scramble and teach using online tools, which they were not familiar with. And there is no denying the fact that it added to the burden that teachers already had. I wonder how many people in this room are from a teaching background or are currently teachers. Anybody? Yeah, there are quite a few hands. There you go, quite a few hands. So I think you would support what I'm saying. The fact is that teachers already have a tough enough job. And the moment we introduce new things without taking into account the impact it will have on their workload, or without taking without adjusting for the additional burden by maybe perhaps tweaking something that they were doing in the past, you're putting further strain on a system that is already strained.
Yeah, I think that's very right. I think that's part of the reason. I remember I was in a panel discussion in Bali, in India, actually Indonesia. The director from the Indonesia on the school education also shared the digital transformation since the new minister got in place 4 years ago. What the decision they have taken is the teacher first story. So basically, a lot of the tools they look at is first try to empower teachers, making sure it really solve a lot of the burden for teachers. Automate a lot of the administrative burdens and empower the teachers first. Obviously, if you have limited, money in a school, let's make sure that every teacher has a laptop, has the quality lesson plans, have the quality materials he can use, know how to use the right technology and the right, contents in the classroom and the pedagogy as well. So the teacher professional development and training, that is first. So Paulina, can you share a little bit about that direction? Because I heard a lot of things, in the project, and obviously, I think you probably have similar experience in the higher education as well. How you tackle this to make sure that the transformation is done, actually starting with the teachers.
Thank you. Yes, empowerment of faculty members or lecturer is the first to do in terms of digital transformation. And while I go into the very old theory of motivation, stick and carrot. So if they do something which is spectacular, then we provide incentive for them. Try not to burden them in their daily life, but perhaps the development exercise can be done during the intersession holiday or something like that. So it's supposed to be a kind of game. It's supposed to be a kind of vacation together, but doing something. So make it light. Don't be a very, this is policy, you have to do it. No, it's not like that. Yeah. So make it very relaxing as possible. So that's the first thing is incentive, and the situation and the environment is supporting. And then the third is that when they need the, what you call, a small success. So as a facilitator, you have to be able to make them, provide them with a small success, how they implement the technology, and it is successful at the very limited level, but that can make them happy and they can be addicted to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Paulina. So there's actually a question specifically about Cambodia. So the question, I think, heard about your project on tablet on the wheel, right? The project that you mentioned. Are all students of Cambodia given tablets? If so, how many students really got tablets in Cambodia?
So tablet on wheel, it's not a tablet, tablet on wheel, it's like the tool, the big tool that we use in the classroom, and teacher can move this tablet on wheel around the classroom. So this tool contain a lot of digital resources, Facebook, so the video clip and all of these things. So it can be used for online teachings and also for group discussion. So it's not the tablet, the small tablet that we share to hand over to the student, but a kind of the big tool that we provide to the school. So in the school that they have one or two, and then they can teachers can use this in the classroom to teach based on that subject. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think that really clarifies. I saw there's another question that's got quite many votes from the participants. Is since education is a very sensitive and it's a nationally important investment, how do we address the issue of the technophobia of key players like teachers, education administrators, students, parents, and the general public? I think what I talk about, the framework in the digital education readiness framework is actually exactly capturing how do we do that. I think like I shared, this publication is really assessing where you are from across all the different pillars. There's another publication we actually, it's called the Reimagine Tech Inclusive Education. It's about evidences, practices, and the roadmap. And all those publications are available on adb.org. You can actually check those publications to see how to really getting all the key ecosystem, the players in place, how to do a staged approach from a nascent, tier development into emerging, into more mature development status. Once you have additional resources, you can actually then invest in additional projects and opportunities to capitalize technology. So I want to be cautious of time because we need to wrap up at 4:10. We have 2 minutes left. I would just like to address the last question that have been getting a quite high vote. Will all these tech-inclusive solutions affect currently existing education infrastructure? And should there be architectural changes? Okay, where's the question? I think it's getting voted out, order change. Okay, now why I'm talking, and I think we got more votes of this question. So it's actually getting voted up. So the architecture changes to the classroom, and how really do we make sure that we are ready, the classroom are ready for those technology changes? Maybe I'll give this to Amit because we have a lot of the large-scale projects in India. India is one of the countries that nobody can beat the population of India in terms of the really the implementation, and we have many classrooms, right? So now with the technology coming in, a lot of the like tablets on the wheel, the what we call smart classrooms, and smart labs, fab labs for STEM learning. So do we really need to do a lot of investment in the classrooms, in the infrastructure, right, itself? So if you can share a bit of that.
Thanks, Jeffrey. I don't think it's going to call for a lot of investment. It may call for some. But the fact is that classrooms and schools as institutions have been evolving for many years. This is not just something new. Any technology that's introduced, anything new that is introduced leads to a change in the way in which we look at the layout of a school. For instance, there's a concept known as building as learning aid, BALA. Now, building as learning aid is a simple thing. You have a door, the classroom door, you can draw angles on the floor. So children coming and going into the classroom can learn the difference between a 30-degree angle, a 60-degree angle, and 90-degree angle, right? This is a way in which you can use the existing infrastructure to teach children if you're so inclined. Yeah. And so building as learning aid, you have alphabets or numbers on the window grills so that kids can see them and play with them and change the permutation and combination. We moved from the traditional blackboard to the smart boards, where you have interactive whiteboards that teachers are increasingly using in classroom to demonstrate PowerPoint presentations or films or examples of different kind. So I suspect that if you have an AI-enabled learning platform introduced in the classroom, you may not see too great a change. What you might, or the teacher might be assisting those students who need more help as opposed to others. But these are all things or practices that are already in place, and a good school follows all of them. So I don't think there's going to be a large degree of change in architecture to that specific question just because of the introduction of a platform like this. But there may certainly be changes to school design going forward, and that's an ongoing process that has been taking place for many years.
Yeah, thank you, Amit. I think I'm cautious about time. We pretty much addressed all the questions that's top voted. I think I got 3 or 4 votes. We addressed the question. Thank you so much for everyone in the room, as well as people online, to really asking and bring up those good questions that I think well addressed by our panelists. I think again, the journey, the digital transformation journey for a lot of countries is a starting point. But the work really need a lot of collaboration among the different stakeholders, right? The governments, the the international relations, the private sectors, the nonprofit really have to work together. That's part of the reason we're calling for a consortium to really getting all the expertise together so that we can actually, we don't have to duplicate the work that's being done in different countries. And that's really the power of ADB, is getting all the resources, the collaboration together, so we can really get the right recommendation to the right country and to the right context, to make the digital transformation journey a lot more smoother. So that's what we are hoping for. And we are wrapping up the session. I want to get everyone know that we only have a few minutes transition to get into the next block of parallel sessions, which we have 4 parallel sessions in the next block. So we're gonna have 3 regional sharing, This one is for Southeast Asia, the other is one South Asia, and then also West and East Asia. 4D, 5D is in auditorium 4 is the Tech Talk style teacher sharing that I talk about. So we're gonna have a lot of sharing across the regions. There are successes, there are challenges, and lessons learned in different projects in different regions. And let's all looking forward to more discussion. I think we're wrapping up. Thank you again to all the panel members today. Thank you again for everyone to pose all the questions. We'll keep you in touch. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.